Welcome to our April 2015 meeting here at Ascend Training. First, we want to take a brief moment to thank our sponsors. Our hosting comes from SiteGround. I think I've got the... Okay, I do have subtext in here. So SiteGround is providing our hosting for our website. They've given us a GoGeek package, and they provided that to us complimentary, which is fantastic. Integrated Technology and Design / Joomla Showroom.com is a Chicago-based Joomla development company that donates their Event Registration Pro software, which we use on our website to manage signups for events like this very meeting. JExtension's store has generously provided their JSitemap Pro software for us to use on our website. We use this for sitemap generation and to support better search engine optimization. RSJoomla donates a subscription to their RSForms extension. Thank you very much, Alex, for that, by the way. And we use this on our website for interactive forms and data capture. I don't have this posted up on the slide, but we also use SH404 SEF, which is one of our official sponsors, and apparently that is now run by a company called Weebler, LLC. When I was looking that up today, I noticed that Anything Digital kind of transitioned all of their products over to the original developer, who has launched his own branch called Weebler, and they're now managing SH404 SEF. Great Lakes IT has generously continued to donate videography and video production services for Joomla Chicago, including videos of past meetings, which are accessible on our website under Resources Presentations. President Robin Mosley is actually here tonight taping the meeting, and he'll be available afterward if you want to talk about video or IT services for your business. And then we have our latest sponsor, Subtext Productions. Alonzo's company they are a Chicago-based website development company specializing in Joomla, and they're responsible for providing the delicious refreshments for tonight's meeting. So thank you very much, Alonzo, for stepping up and helping sponsor our group. Our top sponsor is Ascend Training, which generously provides these wonderful facilities for us to use for our meetings. They offer all different sorts of training, especially a lot of creative training in Adobe products, things like that. Jackie is actually out in the lobby, and if you have any questions about the services they offer, you can touch base with her about that or check out their website, which is linked from our website. And Joomla Chicago sponsors help us with in-kind donations of products and services, as well as direct funding. And more information about our sponsorship opportunities is available on our website. Just visit our site and click the donate button, and you can see that it's really easy for any potential interested sponsors to get in touch with us. Finally, we want to recognize our core team, and we all volunteer to help us to help run this group. Core team members include Dennis Kmetz, Sharon Stade, Paul Ewell, Robin Mosley, Alonzo Turner, and Justin Kerr, which is myself. That's Alonzo right there. Here's Paul, Dennis, Sharon. And Robin, of course, is videoing what we've got going on. Joomla Day Chicago, coming up September 19th, 2015. Their website is now online, and you can sign up for an early bird discount for only $50. I've attended multiple past Joomla Day Chicagos, and they've been fantastic, really informative, and they also bring in a lot of national and international Joomla talent that let you really connect to a wider group of Joomla practitioners and professionals. Alonzo, is there anything you'd like to add, or Sharon, is there anything you guys like to add about Joomla Day Chicago?
Yeah, if you're interested in presenting, if you're a Joomla expert, or just, looking for presenters, that's open to mid-June.
That's awesome. And so the process is basically, people can get information about that on the website?
Yes.
And then submit a proposed talk or whatnot?
Yes.
Is it 1 day or 2 days?
1 day.
It's 1 day, and it is where?
At the DES Convention Center in Rosemont.
Okay, so right out near O'Hare Airport.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's going to be an awesome thing. I'm certainly going to attend, and maybe I'll get my act together and get a presentation proposed for it. We've got some upcoming events we wanted to talk about. First of all, we want to mention, we were talking about this before, the Joomla User Group Chicago North, which meets up in Palatine every second Wednesday, has a meeting coming up that's as it happens, is pretty closely related to the topic of what we're discussing tonight. They're talking about creating killer forms in Joomla with Richard Dale, who is Kendall Cabe's partner in Times2 Technology and has been doing Joomla for many years. And they're also going to be using RSForms Pro as their primary example of a forms component and be looking at some specific things that RSForms Pro can do. This group, we're still finalizing our meeting schedule for the remainder of 2015, but tentatively, we're looking at May 19th. I think the core team, maybe we can get together after the presentation and just kind of confirm the dates that we've been kicking around. But we'll be sending out an announcement about the topic and the final date to our email newsletter and letting everybody know what's going on for our May meeting. Without further ado, let's get started with the main event this evening, where we have RSJoomla CCO Alexandru Plapana. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not going to bother you with the incorrect pronunciation.
Okay.
It's a little bit awkward.
Okay, no worries, but we'll just call you Alex. Is that okay?
Perfect.
All right, that sounds great. So he's going to be presenting on advanced usage of one of RSJoomla's flagship products, RSForm Pro, which is a third-party extension to power interactive forms on Joomla websites. And we use it for our own joomlachicago.us website. Alex is joining us live by teleconference from RSJoomla's home, and it's in Romania, correct?
Yes, home of Dracula.
Home of Dracula. All right. And so, Alexandru, I'll let you take it away. Thank you so much for participating in our meeting. All right, take it away.
First of all, thank you for having me at your weekly Joomla user group meeting. It's actually an honor to be here. I'm not a regular crowd speaker, so bear with me. I'm also not a native English speaker, so slow me down if I talk too fast or if I'm not making myself understandable. Let's share this. Okay. Okay, so I'm Alex. I've been involved within the overall Joomla topic since 2007. I went through all stages, from implementator, newbie, developer, and currently customer chief officer. Our our main extension has actually been our RSForm, and it later developed into RSForm Pro. It is actually the main focus of our, though we have different products, this is the main focus of our development process. Paul suggested me a few, I won't go through the usual topics like installing the extensions and it does this and that. It does everything that a regular Joomla form builder would do. It installs the Joomla way. There are no tricks during the install process or anything like that. You don't need any addition for it. Simply download the installation package and install it through the standard Joomla installer. Today we're going to talk a little bit about multi-page forms, what we can do with the form submission, some keynotes about validation rules, and some security-related aspects that are actually built into RSForm Pro. We're going to talk about its flexible nature, and some more advanced functionality like conditional fields, form calculations, payments. I'm guessing you're all looking forward to this.
Yes.
And of course, free discussion where we can you can ask me questions about the future of RSForm Pro or difficulties that you are encountering when using Joomla extensions such as RSForm Pro or other form builders, what would you like to see and have developed in the near future, and so on. I'm guessing you will be rather creative with your questions. So let's get on to it. Multi-page forms. The pagination within RSForm Pro is performed using some small JavaScript snippets. This method works before because of several aspects. Most important, the ease of use and the fact that it provides maximum flexibility and poses no no security implications. For example, if we were to use any session-related approach, this would pose some security aspects towards file uploads. For example, you'd have to first upload the file in a temporary location and only then validate it and save it for further use. It's very easy to use. There is no special thing that you need to do with it. Just add the button and the pagination will be created automatically. I have prepared some sample forms that we can have a look at and see how the actual pagination is created. So let's have a look. By default, RSForm Pro comes installed with two sample forms. One is a regular form and the other is a multi-page form example. As you can see here, some regular fields are added, a form header and some text inputs. This particular form already has in place the page break button, so to speak. So I will be deleting it for now, just to prove a point. So after you have added all your form fields, simply add the page break element. Oops, that's not a very good view.
Yeah, I've seen that message before.
Don't worry about it, it happens. I've been tampering with this particular installation, so I'm guessing that there might be some residual code in there, so bear with me for a second.
No problem, Alex.
It happened, I guess. Okay, so it should be fine now. So let's have a look at this. So creating a page break element, you can name it as you like. It has a few attributes as well. You can set a label, and most importantly, you can set it whether or not to validate the field on the current page. We're gonna set this to yes, and of course show a bar. Save and close. The progress bar is actually completely customizable. You can, I'm not sure if you noticed this, you can actually create your progress bar HTML code and modify every aspect of it. You only need to have into consideration some placeholders like the current page is specified via a placeholder, the total of pages, and how much progress has been done. So very customizable. I'm gonna drag and drop the field into place. Okay, this is also it. Let's unpublish the field so we can have a look at the form without pagination. So this is ProtoStar. the standard Joomla template. As you can see here, there is a single page. Let's publish the field. Okay, and refresh the page. You can see that this has been split up into 2 pages, and it's trying to validate the page you are currently on. So a small thank you message, and that's about it. This is also it to multi-page forms. As you can see, very easy to use and very flexible. Later on, I will show you how you can hack into the page changing process for your specific triggers, and little bit some tips and tricks that can be used, such as preview page. Once you have filled all of your fields, you can add an optional page that you can summarize what the user has already filled in. There is no particular built-in RSForm Pro function that automatically does this. It's rather easy to implement with some basic JavaScript and PHP knowledge. We already have some examples within our documentation. Okay, that's it for multi-page forms for now, but we can come back later at any time if you have further questions. So, once you fill up the form, what exactly can you do with the submission itself, besides like database saving and emailing, which basically every form builder does out of the box. RSForm Pro has a ton of integrations. I'm listing here just a few that are more action related and can integrate with third-party services. So, for example, it can integrate with RSMail. Some of you are more familiar with mailing, perhaps. RSMail is a strong competitor. So you can basically create your newsletter subscription form via RSForm Pro, and all the data will be mapped to RSMail. Just a few clicks away, no particular difficulties in setting this up. You can implement PayPal payment. Once the form has been submitted, you are automatically redirected to the PayPal page to complete the payment. It integrates with the standard payment service. We don't have available Payments Pro plugin just yet, but this is on our development list. We have a big list for RSForm Pro. It can be integrated with Constant Contact, Salesforce, MailChimp, RS Events Pro. For those of you who don't know, RS Events Pro is our event management extension. You can basically create event registration forms using RSForm Pro without disrupting the regular events process related flow. You can create Joomla standard users using its registration plugin. You can grab data and pass it on to vTiger. Our rather recent addition to our plugin list is Zoho Cherame integration. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. And soon to come, it's our .mailer plugin, which hasn't actually been released yet, and this should be released tomorrow. Free of charge, of course. All plugins and modules that connect to RSForm Pro are free, and it also incorporates PDF PDF plugin which allows you to create a PDF file that contains the submitted information. This is based on Google DOM PDF library, so it uses as input standard HTML and CSS and transform it to PDF. So it's not every HTML or CSS can be properly converted to PDF format. It works for most cases. So what else can we do besides? I'm sorry?
Oh, no,
I can.
we're okay. Go ahead.
Okay. With RSForm you can much more and extend the regular functionality. It incorporates a mapping tool. This particular mapping tool allows you to intervene within the RSForm Pro process and basically grab information that has just been submitted and map it to one of your database tables, whether it's local or remote. It doesn't really matter. It's basically a query configurator. With the usage of placeholders, you don't actually need very much. Don't actually need much SQL knowledge for this, but you do require some basic understanding on the overall database structure that you are mapping to. I have actually created a small example for this. It allows you to transform a form submission to a standard Joomla article, transforming this into a small content creator. Of course, this is not a specialized tool for this. It does its job. Okay, so let's have a look first at the form. Okay, let's have a look at the mapping tool. This is installed by default. There is no particular plugin that is required to activate this particular functionality, unlike the payment or PayPal implementations that does require an additional plugin to be installed. Okay, what you are seeing now is basically the output of the actual mapping functionality, but we can have a look and create a new one. Okay, so this is going to be local. You can perform 3 query types: insert, update, and delete. There are some specific placeholders that can be used to aid you in creating this particular queries. For example, there is last insert ID equivalent. So after running initial insert query, you can use it to in a query down the road, in an update or delete, or even a different insert and so on. So for now, let's have the data map to a standard Joomla article. So connecting. At this point, has detected all available tables that reside in the local database. We're going to use content. After selection, all its columns will be displayed. So in ID, as this is an auto incremented column, we won't be using anything for it. So clicking the fields will display available placeholders. You can write them down or simply select them. So I'm going to map some of the fields that I have added to this form I added a list of categories, the title, a date, and so on, the intro part and content, so you can differentiate a little bit better. Okay, I wasn't sure about this, but for each and every field within RSForm Pro, we have a special area that you can execute PHP code with. So in this case, for drop-down elements, we can use the items section to generate some, to automatically grab the current configured categories. For now, let's just do a small script that would return a fixed value. Have a look at the current categories. You can see that its ID is to we will need this to place the article in the proper category. So let's get back to the mapping area. Okay. Okay. So I mapped the title. We can have the intro text. Okay. Some more for the full part. Can even use HTML here. So, for example, category ID, we can have it fixed or populated by a different field, and all kinds of content-related parameters that can be added here. So let's save this for now and have a go. This is form 6. So submitting the form. Okay, so let's have a look at the article manager area. I'm guessing this is the one unpublished. I had some tests made earlier. So here it is. Of course, you can use all other fields, including creating an alias and mapping user-related information, meta description, and so on. You can add a column can incorporate multiple fields. So I have actually created some more variations to this example. I have actually added alias hidden field. Currently this is empty, but I will be using the PHP RSForm Pro PHP scripting areas to populate this particular field with a calculated value. Most of the time, aliases are constructed out of titles with some basic filtering. We can use for this the PHP scripts area, and on a more particular note, the scripts called on form process area. This area is executed just before the information is being saved within the database. So any particular modification that I will be making here to the post variable would be directly reflected within the information that is saved within the database, and of course later on emailed and passed to third-party integrations and so on. So let's uncomment this particular line that I have written earlier. I'm using the Joomla framework to create this particular alias, and I should be assigning it to the hidden field that I have previously added. The field is named alias. I will use this the variable naming. So okay, this should be it. Let's save it and test this again. There is one thing that I forgot to implement, and that's it, to redo the actual mapping. Let's delete them both. So we will need to redo the mapping. Again, local, Joomla content table, title, alias. This time I will also map the alias value. Info content and content. That should be fine for now. Okay, let's test it again. I'll look at the Joomla article manager. So this is the second test, latest one. As you can see, this is grabbing the value that I have created with my script, and it's mapping it to the alias content field. Of course, the script itself, you can do whatever you like with the script itself. This is a standard PHP eval statement that stores code. So we can use here the post variable. Again, form, I think it's called, yes. And save it. This is the mapping tool. Very useful in some cases, and can spare you of writing PHP code, or from searching over the Joomla framework code structure and so on. Some developers prefer to use this actions such as this to allow users to create their own plugin. From our point of view, creating your own particular plugin is more difficult than simply writing down pseudo query statements, so to speak. So I'm getting this should be useful. Another feature, RSForm Pro feature, is the post to location. This is a little bit more difficult to understand, but it has the various applications that can save you a lot of trouble. So once the form is submitted, the information is posted first to an RSForm Pro location. This particular location filters the submissions and performs its regular tasks such as database saving, emailing, and so on. This feature allows you to hack the standard process even further and post the information to a different location, for example. This location can be a third-party server that is accepting post, get, or curl, and it can do whatever it likes with the submitted information. Before it's posted to this particular location, all data needs to pass through the RSForm Pro validation rules that you have set for each particular field, or that you have defined via each scripting area. Earlier, I mentioned the flexible nature of RSForm Pro. From what you can see here, has about three scripting areas. Actually, there are a lot more, but these are the main one. Script column form display. This particular field is triggered just before displaying the form. So the form layout actually incorporates all the HTML that was generated for the form. So, for example, we can use this to customize the appearance of the form. You can display some user-related information. Write down some sample code, and just to show you when this will be triggered. So, okay. I will be displaying the current user name. What I do. Save. And let's have a look. Of course, there is no name because I'm not. There you can see super user. Okay, the scripts called on form process area allows you to hack the regular process pro. We will later on see how we can use this particular area to create our own validation rules and basically process the submitted information. This is a good place for hidden fields to be populated with calculated data or whatever else you need to capture user related. We also have scripts called after form process area. This was mainly designed to allow you to control the thank you message that can be displayed after submitting the form. The message itself can be customized with placeholders, but if you require more advanced functions, you might actually need to change the overall thank you message completed. This is the area that you can use for this. Again, standard PHP scripting, Joomla framework, or whatever you need PHP related. RSForm also incorporates some other areas that are not so commonly used. One of them is the PHP email scripts area. This basically allows you full control over every email related aspect. You can change the subject, recipient, and so on via PHP scripts. It has one area especially designated for the user email area, one for the admin email, and one for additional emails. In RSForm, you can set it has two standard email types that are most used. A user-related one and admin-related, but you can add as many as you need. You can use the additional emails feature. Simply click and fill in the fields with placeholders and everything you need. Okay. I think this about covers the PHP scripting areas. There are some cases where you can hack even deeper, like when using the PayPal integration or the PDF plugin. I will be showing you a little bit of them later on. Let's talk about a little bit about validation rules. RSForm Pro incorporates a lot of validation rules, most common validation rules, but you can also create your own. Of course, you can create your own via regex rules, for those of you with are familiar with it, or with PHP. I think I have created an example for you that we can have a look at and analyze a little bit. Earlier we talked about invalidating the form submission process via the PHP scripts. So let's have a look at the initial sample form and how we can use the scripts called on form process area to invalidate a particular field unless it meets our requirements. So, for example, I would like to accept the submission only if the full name has a particular value. Just a second, please. Okay. Have a quick look at the presentation and see if everything is there. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that this particular sample is available in the product documentation, so we can refer to it later on. Let's copy this over. Okay, so I will be invalidating the patient unless it has a test value written in. Note that this process is case sensitive. This check is case sensitive. So if suppose I will need to use the exact field name. Okay, the involved variable is an array that actually stores the field um, database ID, which is invalidated. So in this case, I will invalidate the full name field if its value is test. Okay, save and let's test it. Okay, preview the form and have a look. Red message should be displayed if the field is validated. So in this case, it passes validation. As you can see, there is no message returned. If I, however, use test, it should be displayed in red as. Another way to customize your validation rules would be by creating a specific PHP function that performs more elaborate calculations. Though the script::form process is very useful, it not can always be used in each and every case. For example, this would only work if I'm using the PHP validation option. RSForm Pro incorporates two types of validation: Ajax validation and PHP validation. PHP 1 being enabled by default. So in this case, I will be enabling the Ajax validation just to prove a point. Fresh page. Okay, so according to the previous example, if I write a test, this should be invalidated. We can see that this is no longer the case. The reason why this happens is because the Ajax validation occurs before the scripts called on form process area. The calculations performed within the scripts called on form process area will still be performed, but you will no longer be able to hack the normal form process execution flows. So let's have a look at how you can create your own validation rule. I have created one for you in advance, so we don't waste any time in actually writing the code. I have created a validation rule that is actually combined by two standard validation rules. One is email validation rule and one is unique. Unique basically allows you to invalidate a particular field if it has been submitted before. So this will invalidate if the email address has been submitted in the form in a previous process. So let's have a look at the code behind it. I'll open my installation. It's a local host, and please don't laugh at my icon arrangement. I'm gonna look for RSForm Pro, the helper function, and its validation. Every function that is available here will be automatically interpreted by the RSForm Pro source code and will be listed as a validation function. So, for example, I could simply do something like this. Don't do anything because I duplicated the none function. And it should be already in the validation list, my function. Can select it, but for now we're going to use email unique that I have created previously.
Alex, would that, if you upgrade RSForm Pro, would that be overwritten, the changes you might make to that file?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so you
it will
gotta-
be overridden.
Okay, so you got to kind of keep a note of it and any changes.
Yes, but this is where you can use various approaches. So, for example, if you are worried about a component-related update, you can use the scripts called on form process area. Include your file that performs more advanced calculations against your submitted data and so on, but you still have to use the PHP validation option instead. So you need to take the best approach for your specific use case scenario.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's have a look at validation. So I simply named the function, email me. I'm using that parameters as before. I'm already, since RSForm already incorporates a email related validation function, I'm simply calling it and using a unique field validation, which is also provided by default in RSForm Pro. You just can't use them both at the same time. You need a different validation rule that calls them both. So if email passes validation and unique field passes validation, then the function should return true. Otherwise, it should return false. As you can see, I haven't written much code for it. I used the existing code. But we will have a look at the unique field. You can see more advanced queries are performed to check against the value and the form ID. So this is just a method on how RSForm Pro allows you to easily extend the standard code according to your needs. The downside of all this is one of you mentioned that the code will be overridden in a component update, unlike the PHP scripting areas that I have presented earlier. Those won't be affected at all. Changes here will be erased, so you need to take caution in doing this. Okay, so this is about validation rules. So we went through the PHP validation process, how you can create the validation rules, standard validation rules that are common throughout all form builders. I'm not sure if all form builders have as many as RSForm Pro does, but they are rather common. So moving on. Hope I won't miss anything. Okay. Earlier I mentioned about that RSForm Pro has some built-in security. This doesn't mean that you can do whatever you can create whatever script you like and it won't be affected. It basically incorporates XFS filtering. All inputs are filtered by specific keywords that can be interpreted as being malware. And not forget about spam. RSForm Pro incorporates a lot of spam protection tools. It has an integration with Akismet, reCAPTCHA, the new reCAPTCHA, which is basically a no CAPTCHA. It has its own built-in CAPTCHA mechanism. It creates its own image via two available libraries, GD and FreeType. For those of you who are familiar with them, and it also incorporates an invisible CAPTCHA. This is basically a field which is not displayed to the regular user, it has an offset that exceeds the viewport, and you won't be able to see it, but it's a special validation that is performed against this. So if the spam bots regularly tends to fill every input that is available in the form. So if you have a field, it will most likely be filled by a spam bot. So RSForm Pro check against this, and it invalidates if it was filled, because it can't be filled by regular users. So your site should be well protected against spam. Getting on to the next slide, show or hide field. Okay, conditional fields are rather popular from what I gather from our customer support tickets. They're rather easy to use. So let's have a look. Take again the sample forms and see how you can define some conditional field statements. So for example, if I have, let's assume that we have a scenario that if the user selects more than 100 in this particular dropdown, an additional field should be displayed. So let's add another field. If this particular option has been selected, I would also like to make sure that the user has filled in the next displayed field. I will be making this required. Let's save it. Drag and drop the field into place. Okay, so now on to the conditional field configuration area. So, clicking new. So, I would like to show block, label, and field. The field that is displayed in RSForm Pro is composed out of at least two distinct parts. One is the label, caption, and one is the actual input, in this case text box. We can choose between the label or just the field. In this case, we will use both the label and field. Next, I will have to choose the field that I would like to hide or show, depending on the case. This is called additional field. So, show additional field if any or all of the following conditions match. Clicking plus will display the condition configured. A field can be displayed if or hidden if multiple conditions or ones are met at the same time. So in this case, all, but we only define one. If company size is more than 100, is or is not. A selection. Let's save this and test it. So, if I select 120, there will be no additional field displayed. If I select more than 100, additional field will be displayed. So if I try to submit it now, you'll notice that the form will try to validate the additional field as well. As if I hide it, this won't be validated anymore. Oh, yes, and the no captcha plugin is installed. No, not the right, okay. Okay. I set the unique validation rules for this. So I think I forgot the script in place. Of course I did. Should be fine now. The submission process went fine. Let's disable the captcha for easy testing. Okay. A similar feature can also be used to check against empty values. There is a special syntax that is built in within RSForm Pro that can be used for this particular scenario. So if you take a look at the slide, you'll notice a specific bold syntax. It kind of follows the same process. So you have to manually type it in. You won't be able to have a generator for this. This particular syntax can be used in the thank you message and within emails. Later on, this will be extended to the submission view and PDF plugin. The downside of it is that it can currently only be used against empty values. Some of our customers have reported that they would like to check against a particular variable. So if this particular field has this value, then I would like to display this text and so on. The scenario in question can actually be implemented, but it does require a little bit of PHP scripting knowledge, and they use the specific area in RSForm Pro. Another useful RSForm Pro feature is form calculations. This can be used for basic mathematical calculations. It can be used commonly. It's used for creating code-related forms. As with conditional fields, this has a simple setup. So let's take the current form, for example, full name. We'll take the email value and multiply it by it's 5. Okay. So if I write here 12, it should automatically save. As configuration parameters, you can set the numerical format. I think. Yes, exactly how it is. So multiple formats that are used by various parts of the world. So this was very useful. I think we are getting closer to the end. So I hope you enjoyed it. I don't usually do presentations. I hope I didn't bore you that much.
No, it was great, Alex.
This was RSForm Pro from RSJoomla. I'm Alex, and this is the discount coupon that you can use. It's a 50% discount coupon. You can use it for anything you like, not just RSForm Pro. We offer several extensions and templates, including some security-related extensions and SEO, and our latest additions are the template section.
Did you
So-
say 50% off, 50?
50 half.
Oh, 15. 15 or 50?
50.
50% off. That's huge. Thank you, Alex. That'll save some bucks.
The promotion is available until the end of the weekend, so you can take your time, ask us questions. We have a live chat service that you can use and ask us in real time during our work hours. Questions about pre-sale, mostly pre-sale questions, billing and licensing. I'm guessing that there are some of you that have actually used some of our extensions. How is the support service?
How is the support service? Maybe I can turn the. You can see our audience, Alex. Let's see.
Sure, that would be nice.
Yeah, you can see our little crew here. There we go. Yeah, everybody say hi to Alex.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I was involved in installing it. And I'll move over here so I can be back in view or more with the group. We installed it on our Joomla Chicago.us website and used it to build a couple forms, and it seemed to work great. We didn't have a chance for support. Does anybody here use the support?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, so Sharon's used it. What did you
Yeah.
think, Sharon?
The support was good. I mean,
All right.
it's the time zone's different, so you might wait a day or a day or two for an answer, but
Sure.
Yes, we will try to expand our working customer support hours, but it's kind of difficult for us because of the different time zones and schedules. But we do try to answer as fast as we can to our offline customer support requests.
yeah.
Yeah, the time frame never bothered me. A lot of Joomla extensions and plugins are not built here, and support is, 8-10 hours away. So that's not terrifically unusual.
Well, I'm guessing it can be frustrating if you have a rather urgent problem that you need to have solved it quickly. But we do prioritize our customer support requests and filter out of more basic questions, or that can be resolved simply by searching the product documentation.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of documentation on the site as well about some of this more advanced usage. Alex?
Yes. We have a specialized section for small script examples, snippets that you can use, copy them, adapt them to your particular needs. We are constantly adding more examples. We were actually trying to migrate these particular customizations, or more common customizations, to the forum area, as most of our users are used to searching the forum for a particular script solution. So you should be able to see more and more customization examples and snippets in our forum section. I actually had a little bit. I actually had more sample forms and scripts that I have prepared for you, but I'm guessing I have bored you enough with it. One of them was custom PayPal implementation. RSForm Pro incorporates the payment plugin, which can currently incorporate only two payment methods. One is PayPal, and the other one is an offline payment method. We are planning to create more payment integrations for RSForm Pro and our extensions. So,
Is there a time frame for that?
well, no, unfortunately, no. We generally tend to not give particular time frames, so users don't plan on them. As you probably noticed, the Joomla itself can be sometimes unpredictable and have updates that would require us to update our own extensions. And given the fact that we have about 15 extensions at the time and about 7, 8 templates, I think, it can take us a while, so we prefer not to provide specific time frames for adding a particular feature or a particular plugin. We do have feedback area that we constantly monitor and moderate and take inspiration from. So if you would like to suggest us a feature, you are more than welcome to use the feedback area, and I can assure that it's not burial ground for for customer feedback. A lot of our features were extracted from this particular feedback area.
Alex, well, first of all, does anyone else have any questions for Alex? Yeah, okay. We've got Rick Baird here with a question for you, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, first,
sure.
Thanks for a great product. I use RSForm a lot. You have a lot of great features on the form side, on the front end. Are there any plans to do any enhancements on the directory side of RSForm? Seems like I almost always need to do some modifications on the directory side.
RSForm Pro is the directory feature is actually a rather new feature in RSForm Pro. I have actually discussed this recently with our main developer, and there are some changes that will be made. We are actually working on an RSForm Pro update, though I can't provide any insight about the directory structure. I can tell you that it will incorporate some new layout and most likely integrations with some UI kits that are out there. So creating prettier forms is the aim of this particular update. But let me ask you this: what exactly are you trying to implement using the directory feature? What exactly are you missing?
Oh, one particular example is we have a group of people who submit forms and other people who look at them and who may have access to some hidden fields. So we need security by fields depending on the type of user, that kind of thing, where some people can see hidden fields, some people can't.
Okay, I understand.
So field-specific ACL control?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's true, it can be done, but yet again, it does require some custom scripting and possibly some template overrides and so on, basically making the overall process rather difficult. We are definitely going to improve the directory feature on the long run, but unfortunately I can't provide an estimate on this particular issue.
Okay, thank you.
So,
You know, I had a question. It was great to learn about the conditional fields and appearance and disappearance of fields. Can you do the same thing with the whole page?
currently, the show hide feature is focused on a field level, but this is actually was actually one of my sample forms that I have created for you. Conditional form page implementation. It doesn't actually relate to the conditional field functionality, but I mentioned that you can hack within the form changing JavaScript function. Well, if we take a look at this, then a next button, and have a look at its properties, we can see that it's a on-click trigger using RSForm conditional page. We can use this to substitute this particular function with one of your own defined by you, and within that page you can do some checks, like in this sample, skip the next page, yes, no, and depending on this particular answer, call the RSForm for conditional page function with a different set of parameters. So let's have a look at this. This is exactly what I actually did. Using the script colon form display function, I'm replacing this to put change page with RS conditional page. Different JavaScript function that I am able to create and have my own way around it. So in the CSS JavaScript area, I have defined this RSForm for conditional page function. Again, this is not a standard RSForm for function. You can name it however you like. You can see it here. So the changing page has 4 parameters: form ID, current page, the total pages, and whether or not to validate the current page. So in this case, I'm on page 1. So in my custom JavaScript function, I will be verifying if the current page is page 1 and what button out of the radio group has been clicked. So this checks whether or not the radio element has been checked and calls the proper page changing function. As you can see here, RSForm Pro change page form ID as I have passed it within the parameter, and I'm skipping the next page. So the current page becomes page +1. This particular example has been added to the RSForm Pro product documentation. There is a sample form there that you can download and install and see how it works. As you can see, there is not really much script to it, but this is all to it. On the long run, there will be a specialized feature, especially designed for this, as many of our customers inquired about this and have reported having difficulties into implementing such a JavaScript. So let's test it a little bit. So if I click this to yes, page becomes page 3. If there is no, page 2 should display this then. I was creating this in a hurry and I haven't added much fields, but doesn't really matter how many fields you add to a particular page.
I understand. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Well, do we have any more questions for the group about RSForm or anything else? Yeah, Sharon?
Yeah, did you recently come out, I remember on your site, with like a simpler version of RSForm, like an RS contact, or is there another?
Oh yes. We have indeed released a rather simple contact form builder. It doesn't come near RSForm Pro features and so on. It's free. You are more than welcome to try it. It's suitable for simple contact forms that you can simply need to grab a few fields and send an email, one to an administrator, moderator, and so on, and one to the user for something like that. It doesn't actually store the submissions in your Joomla installation, so it doesn't save the data, but it simply emails them. So it's suitable for simple contact forms that you don't actually need to store messages and so on.
Okay, any other questions for Alex from the group? All right, I think we're good. Alex, thank you so much for participating and Skyping in and and participating in our Joomla Chicago meeting, and we really appreciate it, as well as the big discount. That's good through Saturday, right?
Yes, it's available until the end of the week.
Through the end of the week, okay.
Yes.
I think I'm going to be buying me some RSForm Pro this week.
I hope you will.
Great, and we really appreciate it. We're going to be, we've got our video production crew here, and we're going to be posting this entire presentation on our website, so we can refer back to it, as well as other visitors can come to our website and check it out and learn about RSForm that way as well.
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me to your Joomla user group meeting, and hope to talk to you soon about perhaps something else, some other extensions, or we can have some constructive workshop or something. If you come into difficulties in using one of our extensions, or several you are, we can have a free discussion about it and so on, perhaps come up with a solution. In the meantime, I will be waiting your inquiries on the customer support area.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
Bye for now.
Take care.
Bye.